Welcome back to another episode on the monthly economic update, featured on Economy.lk. February is generally a shorter month, but we've had a lot of economic news and views to discuss about. First, I think one of the important moves carried out this month was by the central bank, which cut what we call the statutory reserve requirement, the amount that banks have to leave with the central bank. That was cut by another 1%, following another 1.5% cut in November. The bank cited the tight liquidity conditions. A key result of this tight conditions has been because of the debt rollover that the central bank did in January, with a 1 billion loan coming up for maturity. With that loan also, we've seen reserves declining from 6.9 billion at the end of last year to about 6.1 billion by the end of January. So that puts into place, I think, a key trajectory for the next few months, especially with the IMF also having a staff level agreement reached, and what that will mean in terms of Sri Lanka going out to the market and raising sovereign dollar bonds to ease some of the liquidity concerns. But with all these issues hanging in the balance, we've seen the rupee actually appreciating close to 2% against the US dollar. And that has been, I think, a trend what we've seen in other emerging countries as well, where since October, November, the performance of these currencies against the dollar has favored positively, and now Sri Lanka is seeing the benefit of it. An additional factor has been that certain weeks has seen foreign inflows coming into the local bond market. So that's a positive, I think, to highlight for the first 2 months of this year. Globally, I think a key indicator which I'd like to flag up is the one by the WTO, which looks at which as a trade indicator, a leading trade indicator, and that has fallen to its lowest since 2010 as well, highlighting the trade tensions that is taking place globally as well, and some of the other risks such as Brexit, which will have some kind of an outcome later this month in the month of March. So stay tuned. March will also be an interesting month with what happens with Brexit, and if Sri Lanka does go out into the market to raise the sovereign dollar bond, whether the macro will stabilize, and also budget 2019, which will be expected on the 5th of March.